Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. The audio's going. The audio should be fine. Okay. All right. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Thursday's live stream. Hello, hello. Oh, 7 likes already before we began. Feel like that number is going up and up and up. It's awesome to see. All right. So let's begin. So if you guys have not read the title yet, or even the description box down below, we're going to talk about specifically one ticker, AVGO. But before we begin doing that, okay, I want to plug in my Twitter or X page because I provide a lot of good information in my Twitter profile. It might be, sometimes I might not be posting a lot, or sometimes I may be posting a lot, but it shouldn't matter since you guys can just scroll down through my my account here, or my page, and you guys can see all the posts that I have made so far. So, for example, today, okay, let me actually give you guys it here. Today, all right, I provided a pretty nice technical breakdown. It's a technical analysis breakdown. It's a very simple breakdown. There's nothing too much, there's nothing too special about it. But I just want to give you guys kind of an example as to what you guys could be seeing. Like I said here, a very small example of one single part of a swing trade idea that could be given in our weekly CFO Swing Watch report. So if you guys want to take a look at this, go ahead and take a look at my Twitter page or X page, which is at ChartsFocus1, and that's my handle for most of my, all of my social media platforms that I'm on. Okay. All right. So with that being said, now let's talk about what we have tomorrow regarding economic data, specifically labor market data. Right. So tomorrow we have the very important non-farm payrolls. This is the non-farm or NFP data for the month of September, and we also have the UR or unemployment rate data for the month of September. And so far, it seems like the unemployment rate has plateaued, as I've recently stated before, in the CFO Swing Watch report. I believe it was a couple of weeks ago, and I believe that this trend will continue, and we won't see a significant continuation to the upside, literally, for unemployment rates. And so that's the reason why so far analysts and economists alike are saying that they're seeing a 4.2% as the estimate for their medium forecast estimate for the UR in September, and the previous August's UR rate, UR data was 4.2% as well. Okay, so that's pretty interesting to see, as the unemployment rate is literally not moving anymore after having a nice slow climb where everyone was literally panicking, saying that the Federal Reserve is not doing their job correctly and that they've cut way too late. But on the other hand, those are the same groups of people who are saying that the Federal Reserve should have bumped the unemployment rate up higher in 2023. Right, I remember reading a bunch of those angry people saying that, at this point, the Federal Reserve should just cause a Fed-induced recession and we should be seeing unemployment rates skyrocketing. All right, but now that we see the unemployment rate skyrocketing after the great market performance in 2023 and 2024 so far, they're now saying that with this little uptick in unemployment rate from historic lows, where basically what we like to consider, what the textbook likes to consider, quote-unquote, no unemployment, basically, which is sitting around 3.5% to around 3.8%. They're saying that the Federal Reserve essentially has already screwed up. Okay, but on the other hand, we know that they're not screwing up. They're in a very comfortable situation for them to either pause or continue to cut rates. For me, ideally, I would want them to continue to cut rates and for us to be in an official rate cut cycle. But unfortunately, I don't think that will happen because of what the Federal Reserve members have said, and what specifically Jerome Powell has said earlier this week as well, when they said that, when he said that the Federal Reserve is still very much data dependent. Okay. So, excuse me, guys. Let me cough a little bit. Let me mute my mic. All right, drink some water as well. Okay, so with all that in mind, hey, the funk, what's up? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So for non-farm payroll, I personally think that we should be seeing a number between what we saw in August, so 142,000, and the expected right now, which is 150,000. If you fall in somewhere between these two numbers, these two values, we should be fine, right? And the market should react pretty positively because, well, if you guys have been living under a rock this entire week, this entire trading week, you guys probably did not know that the markets have not been moving too much, right? Especially yesterday and today. In fact, today I believe we got an inside candlestick on the daily time frame to close, compared to the very tight candlestick that we had yesterday, right? So again, very low volume, very tiny price ranges since yesterday, especially after Tuesday's move down. And so far it seems like the bulls have been able to keep sellers at bay here, especially since we are sitting right above the previous all-time high level of $563.50. If you guys remember, this was a pretty significant level of resistance that I've pointed out multiple times back in mid to late August and also in early September as well. So now that we've quite literally began to use this 563.50 and higher and up, so around, I would say, 565 as an area of demand, there is a good chance that we can just catapult away from this previous all-time high significant resistance level. Okay, and so this is going to be, yeah, it's really low and slow. Essentially what has occurred today, right, and yesterday. I mean, just the fact that we made an inside day candlestick compared to yesterday's candlestick. I mean, the highs of today and the highs of yesterday were only off by 10 cents. Right? So the price action is getting very tight. And so far overnight, we're getting some very positive action to the upside finally, since, well, we have been kind of biased to the upside, but actually I believe NASDAQ futures is showing a better candlestick here, if I'm not mistaken, unless TradingView is not showing. Well, still okay, this is still a very constructive candlestick so far, but we're still very early into the night. So you know, after all the positive news that came out today after market close, with the dock workers basically ending their strike, or maybe putting it on hold, who knows, and kind of coming to a good deal, well, quote unquote good deal. I don't know if it's a great deal or not, since I'm not a dock worker, but so far we've been seeing a positive reaction and a positive open. So hopefully the NFP data and the UR data that comes out tomorrow won't affect the current move that we're seeing in the overnight futures market price action. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome in. Welcome, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button down below. I believe on Tuesday we actually had a record amount of people watching the live stream at a single time. So let's try to beat that. All right. So with all of this being said, let's take a look at the ticker for tonight's stream. AVGO, or Broadcom Incorporated. So this one was a swing trade idea on the CFO Swing Watch report back in, I believe, yeah, back in late August. So right before we saw the market turning over and moving back to the downside. And so essentially that swing trade idea did not work out, obviously, I mean in hindsight, due to the overall markets also moving to the downside as well for most of late August and early September. But this was the long trade idea. The long entry point was 164.10 for us. However, after that early move down in September, and then ultimately the earnings report sealing in the deal to continue to move down, we saw AVGO rapidly moving away and recovering back to the upside after hitting these lows, well, specifically after retesting the daily 200 SMA, which has been slowly, well, ever so slowly, curling up higher and catching up the price. And so September 9th was the official retest on this daily 200 SMA after not retesting it since, if you go all the way back here, right, back to December of 2022. So now, is this a good sign or is this a bad sign? Well, usually when we tend to see the price breaking over the daily 200 SMA, that's a great sign. That's a bullish indication, right, for the longer term. However, when the daily 200 SMA begins to catch up to the price, since again, the official goal of the price is to move away from these major SMAs that I have here, the daily 10, 21, 50, and 200, but especially the last two, the daily 50 and the daily 200, since that is the major goal, the main goal of the price to move away from those bigger SMAs, the bigger simple moving averages, when we tend to see a retest or at least a near touch of the daily 200 SMA, a very, very large SMA, that usually spells a warning for us. It's kind of an omen, an ominous sign that AVGO can be breaking to the downside. However, again, it's still a pretty good sign and a bullish indication that the price wants to continue to stay above the daily 200 SMA without breaking below it. And so far, the price has not done that yet. And so now, after this retest and a very sharp and quick pivot from the daily 200 SMA, we have a very rapid recovery. And I love the fact that the buyers came right back in to defend the price at this daily 200 SMA and relentlessly continued to buy until it completely recovered the losses from the earnings gap down and the losses that were incurred after this late August to early September move lower. All right, so with all that being said, so far on the weekly time frame, so if you go to the weekly time frame, we've essentially gotten nowhere. Right? So we have been consolidating in a very volatile manner at that. So that is a little asterisk that you guys have to remind yourself when you're taking a look at AVGO. It's a consolidation phase, but it is a pretty volatile consolidation phase, which is usually a warning sign that a stock could be peaking at its top here. Well, since AVGO is literally right underneath all-time highs. So that could be a warning sign, but again, I'm gonna look past that because again, semiconductors are still in a very much, in a very bullish momentum run. And so with AVGO being one of those, is one of the lesser known and semiconductors, since everyone tends to look at NVDA or AMD or QCOM, but AVGO tends to be a pretty silent runner to the upside, and so far AVGO has been killing it for the last 2 years after forming that bottom in 2022, as I've shown you guys previously here. So if you guys didn't know as well, AVGO did a stock split of, I believe, 10-1 in July of this year, and so that's the reason why we have these prices that we see right now, and that's the reason why we have an increase in overall volume as well, since the share price is essentially cheaper, right? Even though the overall market cap of AVGO has not changed, because that's how stock splits work. And if you guys are wondering what the pre-stock split price was, since this was a 10-for-1 stock split, all you need to do is multiply the current share price of 171.89 by 10. Okay, just multiply it by 10. It's very, very easy. Okay, if you guys are confused about stock splits or reverse stock splits, please let me know, or simply just Google it. It's very, very simple math. Okay, so AVGO, why am I looking at this one, and why do I say that there's a potential for it to continuously break to the upside and continue to the upside and have a major new all-time high price print in the next couple of months and possibly into the end of this year? Well, first of all, we are making a pretty solid higher high and higher low trend so far. If you guys can't see it, well, first of all, based on this low that we saw on September 9th, when we retested the daily 200 SMA, we made a higher low compared to this previous low, and then compared to this previous low on September 9th, okay? We've also made another low, we'll see it right around here, on this candle, on that candlestick here, and then another higher low. And so this is pretty much a textbook uptrend. And so far, we have also been making higher highs. We have broken out of this previous pivot high point when we broke out on this specific day, right here, on September 20th. So with the higher high and a higher low uptrend, we can potentially see another higher high as well once we're able to break over the current pivot high point sitting at 180.25. And so as the overall demand for AI chips, right, specific AI chips that other companies are trying to order from these semiconductor manufacturers and producers like Broadcom, obviously, you know, NVIDIA is the king right now. They're reigning supreme as the overall chip makers for this current AI revolution that we're currently going through. But AVGO is also another major semiconductor manufacturer and supplier for these specific AI chips that are in high demand. If you guys don't remember, Jensen Huang from NVIDIA has said that their own new AI chips are getting a lot of demand. I believe it's called Blackwell. Hopefully I'm not butchering that name. Yeah, Blackwell. And so NVIDIA obviously had a very positive reaction to that, I believe yesterday night. If that is indeed true, which I don't really have any reasons to not believe him, then AVGO should continue to see the same type of hype and demand coming in for their chips as well, for the specific AI chips that AVGO is currently making. So just from that perspective, I really think AVGO has a lot of room left to make new all-time highs. And so there is a chance that, well, AVGO can still hit my ideal target of $200. And guess what? This was not the first time that I am saying that AVGO can hit $200. If you guys take a look down below and take a look at the very first link provided in the description box, I made another previous video on AVGO, and that was the previous private but now public technical analysis video for that week's CFO Stringer Watch report. So if you guys want to watch that video to see why I thought AVGO can potentially go to 200, and I still think it can go to 200, make sure you guys watch that video. All right. So if you go down to the 4-hour time frame now in AVGO, okay, we are seeing some bearish indications. However, the price continues to consolidate very well, and the overall semiconductor sector has been holding up fairly well after that brief move lower that we saw in this month, right? Starting this month. Well, that was on Tuesday, so you know, we're still seeing underlying buying coming in for all the leading groups, especially yesterday and today, even if the overall markets like the S&P 500 and NASDAQ weren't moving as much. So there is a lot of buying still going in under the hood of the car here, of the semiconductor car, and hopefully that buying is giving enough fuel to that car to continue to ride the hill to the upside for AVGO and the overall semiconductor sector. So for AVGO, as long as we're able to get back over the daily 10 SMA after losing it on Tuesday, there is a good chance that we can find that new pivot high point that will break over this previous pivot high point of 180.25 and ultimately retest the current all-time high price print of 185.16. And so a nice long-term entry point for AVGO, or at least a swing trade position, will be a break over the current, well, today's high of the day, which will be the Are we back? Are we not back? I don't know why we lost connection there. My Wi-Fi was fine. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so as I was saying, guys, on this 2-hour intraday time frame, we can clearly see an inverted head and shoulders chart pattern. We have the left shoulder here, and then the very awkward looking inverted head, and then the right shoulder here that's currently forming. And so if we are to break out tomorrow, since semiconductor names are moving overnight, and hopefully those overnight gains hold, crossing my fingers there, we should be able to break out over 173, this intraday level of resistance, and potentially come back down tomorrow to retest it as a new level of intraday support and pivot away from it and provide enough buy momentum to continue to resume back up higher. Now, obviously that is an ideal situation to have that confirmation to use 173 as a new level of support. But then again, if we have a gap up over 173 and we continue to have what we call essentially a breakaway gap, and we continue to move on higher, and then that's great. I have no qualms with that. Right, and so if we do break over 173, and that will be a nice early but riskier long entry point for any swing trade positions, or even a day trade if you guys want to day trade this, your first swing trade profit target will be 180. So it's right at this whole number level, and at the same time it's right underneath the previous pivot high point of 180.25. So it will be pretty nice to see the price hang 180 and also slightly peaking over 180 to potentially take out this previous pivot high point and create a new higher high. And again, this all goes down to how the overall semiconductor leaders perform tomorrow on the overall NFP and UR data, and obviously how the overall markets react as well. But I am hopeful for this. We've been seeing a lot of good underlying buying coming in all the leading groups like semiconductor, SMH, and including software, right? The software sector, IGV. So both of these two sectors have been holding up very, very well compared to other sectors that haven't been doing too much or haven't been doing too well at all. So again, just as a reminder, guys, we are still in a bull market, right? We're not about to see a huge 20 to 30% crash as I've already begun to see in FinTwit. So there's still a lot of room left for AVGO based on what I've just told you guys about the continued AI hype that we are still seeing, and just based on what Jensen Huang has said on its new AI Blackwell chips that they're still producing. I still believe that can be applied to AVGO as well with their own AI chips that they're currently manufacturing and supplying to other companies and their specific clients. So AVGO should be another beneficiary. I mean, this one's a silent runner, right? No one really looks at AVGO unless they're not seeing anything going on with NVIDIA or AMD or Qualcomm and etc. All those notorious semiconductor names, but AVGO is one of those names you might want to take a look at for the next couple of days, including tomorrow, to see if we can have a nice new all-time high price print on AVGO and potentially hit my ideal profit target of $200. And again, if you guys want to know why I am looking for that $200 profit target or ideal maximum target for AVGO, please take a look down below in the description box and click on the very first link that is provided down below. You guys can take a look at the then private but public CFO Stringer Watch report technical analysis video that was shown that week when that report was given out. And AVGO was one of the long-term swing trading ideas. Okay, and again, this is, I'm showing you guys here, this is the long-term idea for AVGO. This is our long entry point over 164, which failed to well, the name really just failed to give us this entry point. Since late August, we saw that lower, that move lower in the overall markets, and all the leading stocks and leading groups began to fall with the markets in early September. Right, so hopefully AVGO can give us another opportunity here. And again, if semiconductors decide to move down yet again, I wouldn't mind the price staying over 164 again, since that can provide us with another earlier entry point, a nice bounce entry point at that point. And we can also retest the daily 21 SMA, which is slowly curling up higher and trailing close behind the candlesticks here, or the overall price. So again, the daily 21 SMA is my light blue line, and it just crossed over 164. So based on that crossover over this previous support level and resistance level, there's a good chance that we can see the price continuously moving away from this 164 level, and we can have the daily 21 SMA trailing close behind to support the price up higher. The only thing that we need to see in this week alone, and by tomorrow before the market close, is the price staying over the daily 10 SMA to officially close out the week, with the price staying over both of my major momentum, well, short-term momentum SMAs, the daily 10 and my daily 21 SMAs. All right. Okay, so that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you guys so much for all the likes so far, and thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for interacting in the live chat room, and thank you guys so much for even showing up and watching this stream. Apologies about that connection issue that we had a couple minutes ago, but hopefully you guys were able to listen into most of the important points that I've given you guys for AVGO, and hopefully you guys are able to find a good trade over 173, which is an intraday resistance level, as I've just shown you guys as well. And hopefully you guys are able to tell me that you guys are able to grab a very good trade off of this ticker. All right, well, that concludes the live streams for this trading week. If you guys want to take a look at Tuesday's live stream and see what we talked about, please take a look by just, well, clicking on my channel. I'm sure you guys know the way around YouTube here, so I really don't need to provide you guys with any instructions. But again, you guys can continue to look at all the other videos that I've uploaded on my channel, and all the other replays for my live streams on my channel as well. I highly recommend you guys do that. You guys can usually find some very good trade ideas that you might have not been looking at, or maybe some trade ideas that you may have missed, and you might take a look at them to review them to see how we played it. But overall, it should be a great learning experience just by looking at my YouTube channel alone. All right, hey, thank you guys so much for the emojis on the in the live chat room. I see it there. Thank you guys, thank you. Okay, so I'll see you guys next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great rest of your night. Good luck, and thank you so much for watching.